Hello friends, welcome back to the channel. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Kristen and this is Growing Zone 9B. So, as you can see, the rain is about to come in. Always. We're in a subtropical area, so we get a lot of rain. Miss Betty's out here. I just got home from work. There's Miss Betty. Yep, barking at nothing. So we're gonna go ahead and head inside because it's lightning and the rain's getting ready to come. And I just walked in. As soon as I walked in, I saw that my plants were looking really droopy over here in my container, which is weird because it's wet. It's definitely wet. So who knows what's going on with that, but Betty. All right, so we're gonna go outside and get something started. I gotta get dinner started. We got a lot to do. It's been a really long day, but it's gonna be okay because if I can do this quickly, I know you guys can too. So here we go. All right, friends. So as you guys know, it's been raining. I just went ahead and changed my clothes because I didn't want to be in my work clothes trying to do this with you guys today. So I'm going to show you how quick dinner can actually be. You just got to put a little bit of time and effort into it. So I personally wanted some French fries, and honestly, I drove past a McDonald's and a Burger King and all these places that, there's Miss Luna drinking. All these places that sell French fries, and I was like, oh, I really wanted to stop in. But that's the type of cravings that we have to kind of step back from and kind of go back to eating natural and healthy and better, because that is not good for you. And that's probably why I have those cravings, is because, you know, they make it to where you want to eat these types of foods. So, all right, so I'm bringing you guys down to the counter. I have 2 potatoes. One is super large, and I definitely learned my lesson from the hash browns that I made, the shredded potatoes. I'm not going to be doing a lot because it's just my fiance and I. So here's a smaller potato. So you can peel the skins if you don't like the skins. To me, for French fries, it's perfectly fine. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to cut it in half. All right, and then I have a bowl full of water for right now, because we still have another part of the recipe that I'm going to show you guys in a second. And I'm just going to literally just cut these potatoes into French fry sizes. We like ours a little bit more like a steak fry. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to let them sit in that water so they don't get oxidized. And then when I go to actually throw them in the air fryer, because the air fryer to me is the best way to do it. If you don't have an air fryer, don't worry, you can pop these in the oven. I would estimate for about 350 for maybe about 30-35 minutes, and then check on it and see if that's the texture that you like are they crispy enough or not. So here's the potato wedge sizes that I'm going to be doing. These are really like what you would see at a restaurant. So I'm just going to pop those in the water for right now. And I will continue this process of getting my French fries ready. And then after, like I said, after these are, these are ready to go into the air fryer, what you will do is you'll drain them, drain all the water off. What I do is I just drain that bucket of water, the container of water, and I end up throwing some olive oil on it just to coat each French fry. And I obviously use the Redmond's real salt. So that is the salt that I'll be sprinkling over the top of it. And then I spray the bottom of my air fryer so that nothing sticks. And then I, you know, just in case, because even though you're putting olive oil on it, sometimes it will definitely stick. So I just want to be cautious of that. You know, even if you have a little toaster oven, you can definitely grab 1 potato or 2, depending on what size your toaster oven is, if you're in college or something. And you can just make yourself some French fries, you know, keep a little bit of olive oil around. We just use right now, I'm just using some of the Kirkland's. I have fancier olive oil, but you know, for right now, it's not really necessary. So, and then you can just cut these up, and then you are getting something that you want, which is, for me, the French fry, without getting the nasty ingredients that may or may not come with this. So you can cut these in half if you feel like they're too long. You can definitely cut them in half. I'll probably end up going back and cutting those in half. They seem to cook better and they crisp up a little more, and I like that. I like my French fries with a little bit of crunch. So that is how easy making French fries can be. So that's what I said, don't overthink stuff. Simple is best sometimes, and this is just a quick way for me to get a meal prepped and ready for dinner. I usually get home before my fiance, and this week I worked overtime, so literally I got paid for overtime. So it's been a rough week, and then my aunt's been in the hospital, so I have been nonstop. I'm exhausted. I am beyond burning my candle at both ends at this point. So, you know, you all just be cautious of that. I don't regret any of it. I'm not saying that at all. I love my family, and you do what you have to do. And I don't mind working, because sometimes we have busier times that we have to pick up and just handle our jobs. But I'm definitely saying, like, there'll be times that you're very tired and you still got to just think. You gotta have a change of mindset. You can't just say, man, you know, because it would have been easy, you know, stop at a Chick-fil-A, McDonald's, Burger King, you name it, Hardee's, somewhere, stop in, pick up something really fast, go home, and then eat it. Yeah, that would have been easy to do, but I want to be healthier, and so that is not healthy. So if I really desire these French fries, and I know me, I really wanted these French fries, so I'm like, nope, you know what? Take yourself home, girl, and make it yourself, because that is going to be the best way to do it, and you know your ingredients. All right, so I'm going to bring you guys back, and we will get the second part of dinner going. We are going to be making Salisbury steak. Super easy to make. It's almost like kind of like making a meatloaf. So as soon as I get these potatoes chopped up, I will bring you guys back to do the Salisbury steak. All right, so let's get started on the Salisbury steak. So we have some of our ground beef that we got from the cow that was butchered. So it's been thawed. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this open. All right. So I put that, I have a little like mixing plastic bowl that I normally put my tomatoes in, but for now that's what it's gonna be. It's gonna be a mixing bowl. All right, you're gonna take 1 egg, crack it and put it in there. I'm gonna put probably a half a teaspoon of smoked paprika. All right, I'm probably gonna do about a half a teaspoon of salt, Redmond's Real. All right, I have a half an onion that I had in the refrigerator. I'm gonna cut that top layer off, and then I have a little chopper, and I'm just gonna throw this in the chopper because honestly, I don't care for, I mean, I don't mind big chunks of onion because I like onion, but my fiance does not. He likes it to kind of be hidden, so I'm gonna put it in our mini chopper and then chop it up real quick so that it gives it a nice fine texture, but still we're getting that flavor. All right, so we'll get this chopped up now. All right, so I'm adding the onion now to our recipe. Like I said, it's about a half of like, I would say a medium to large onion, since I do like my onion. Now here's what gets kind of optional for you. I happen to have some beef broth. So I'm gonna go ahead and add some beef broth in for us. I would say I'm going to add probably, I would say maybe a quarter of a cup or less. You're really looking for just like kind of more flavor, because the rest of this beef broth, what I'm gonna do is once these patties kind of cook, I will add more beef broth into the actual pan, so that way we can get, he likes gravy, so I'm gonna make some gravy for him. And I will show you guys how to make that. And then I'm just gonna take about, I don't know, I would say that's probably a solid 2 tablespoons of flour. And then I'm gonna mix it all in. Now, if you like pepper or if you like other flavors, go ahead and add those flavors in before you start to get mixing. It's kind of almost like a meatloaf in that regard. I normally add mustard and ketchup, like about a tablespoon of mustard and a tablespoon of ketchup to this recipe. But if I open the ketchup, it's a brand new bottle, and honestly, it's a huge bottle that like when the kids are here, they will eat on, but I just don't want to open it right this second. Although I probably should, because we're gonna have French fries tonight, but well, anyway, so I'll get some ketchup, I'll add some ketchup, but we are out of mustard, so I put mustard on the list of things. I know you can make mustard, but we will not be making mustard. So, all right, so that's basically it, and we're gonna make it like in a hamburger patty size, and I will bring you guys over to the counter and show you how we get this started. All right, so I've turned the pan on to like a medium-high heat. And then, like I said, we're just gonna make it into like a hamburger patty size. I have a non-stick pan that I'm using. All right, that's about right. So there you go, there's the patty. I'm just gonna put it in there. So what's gonna end up happening is I have more burger than I have space for the pan. So I'm gonna have to cook these Salisbury steaks up first, then put the second batch in, and then I'm gonna have to kind of like lasagna layer it. And I'll show you what that looks like. I'm gonna go wash my hands now. All right, so we're gonna be cooking these for probably about 10 to 15 minutes and just kind of making sure that they're cooked all the way through. Because before we make the gravy, we just wanna make sure that they are cooked all the way. You don't want anything to be like raw. So let me show you what they look like in the pan. They're still pretty raw, and then I'll bring you guys back before we do the actual gravy. Now, if you have heavy whipping cream, we can use the heavy whipping cream to make gravy. I do happen to have some, but that's not how I'm going to be making the gravy tonight. If you opened up the beef broth or you have beef broth, you can do that. If you have a lot of fat in your meat, you can definitely use the fat and add a little bit of water. You don't have to have any dairy products. You can just whip that in, and we're just going to take a spatula and just kind of like stir it in really good, or a whisk, and then that way it'll make the gravy for it. If you like mushrooms, or you have like canned mushrooms or fresh mushrooms, I recommend that you cook those mushrooms down if they're fresh. If they're canned, just drain them, and then when you go to make the gravy, you can add it into the gravy. So some people like it with mushrooms in it. So I just don't happen to have any mushrooms, so we're not going to be doing mushrooms either. But like I said, these are basically like skillet pattied, kind of like little meatloaves. That's kind of how you got to think about it. But these are basically kind of how Salisbury steak is made. And so this is my version of Salisbury steak. Super simple, super easy, something that I know I can get done fairly quickly. And like I said, we have those French fries, and then I'm gonna cut up some cucumber and do a little bit of cucumber with it. And so that will be dinner tonight, because like I said, I'm exhausted, I'm very tired, and I'm just not motivated to do too much more. But I do need to make an apple pie. I have people coming over this weekend, so I will definitely bring you guys along for the apple pie. So I'll be busy for a little bit, and that's what I'm saying. I'm already tired, so I want to make a quick dinner so that I can get on the apple pie. All right, friends, so I'm going to take this meat out. This is the second batch of Salisbury steak that I have. So I'm going to remove it from the pan. All right, and here's what they look like. So they just look like kind of like burger patties, honestly. All right, so we have some of the grease and the oil and all that goodness, moisture that's just in the pan itself, so it's not a lot. So here we go. I'm gonna take some of that beef broth that I have. Here's the beef broth that I'm using. You can order this online. I know they sell it in, you know, larger packs. I'm gonna use the whole container. So between the beef itself and the cooking process, I'm gonna use this whole thing of, you know, this beautiful broth. It's delicious, it's healing. Honestly, I like to use it. My dogs like it, and so that's a good thing for them. I know that it's a little bit costly, but you know, to each their own. All right, so what I'm gonna start doing is that pan's hot and the broth is pretty much warm because it's been out, and I just opened it, so it's been like room temperature, so to speak. I'm gonna take this, I have the organic all-purpose Kirkland's flour. If y'all have never watched my videos before, here it is. That's the one that we use. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm going to sprinkle this in. Okay, and then I have my little wooden spatula, and it's just like mix, 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 right? We don't want clumps in our gravy. And you don't have to make a thick gravy if you're not really like a thick gravy type person. Don't worry, just keep it at like a quarter of a cup. You make your gravy to the like how you would like to eat it. But if you feel like you need a little more, like you like the thickness of gravy, you want it to be a little bit thicker, not wet, then add more flour. Now remember, you want to just kind of take your time and keep your temperature going, because the flour itself kind of needs to cook. So that's the deal. If you want to put the lid on it for a minute and just see how it goes, before you commit to adding more flour, because maybe you're new at doing this type of cooking, then just put the lid back on it. Let it sit and simmer for a minute, because the longer it kind of simmers, the more it'll start to thicken up, as any gravy would. And so what'll happen is once it starts to thicken up for me, I'll make a decision at that time if it needs more or less. And then I will start to add in the meat, and I'll pull it off the heat at that time once it's like ready. And I'll just set it aside until my fiance gets home and we will start dinner. But for right now, I'm gonna bring you guys over to the other side, and we are going to get our topping ready for our apple pie. All right, so I went ahead and I've now shredded about 7 apples. You can do whatever apple mix you like. If you like one, like these are the Honey Crisps, so they are higher in sugar. But that's the ones my fiance likes. I like Granny Smith personally, so you can do a little bit of Granny Smith, you can do a half and half, you can do whatever apple you like, you make it your way. So I've got them sliced up. I used the mandala to slice them up. I peeled them and then sliced them. All right, so remember we have some organic cane sugar. I just used this container. You're gonna use about 1/4 of a cup. The recipe itself actually calls for 2 cups of sugar, which y'all know I don't want to use that much sugar. These apples are sweet enough. I want to get more natural than I do sweets, and the topping itself is sweet. So I'm going to be adding in the organic cinnamon. I get this at Costco. You can use Ceylon cinnamon, whatever is best for you. I'm gonna say this is a solid probably 2 tablespoons of cinnamon because I like those warming spices. I try to use spices that I know a lot of people can get. We got this at Walmart. Hopefully if you have a Walmart nearby or a regular grocery store, you'll be able to get some organic ground clove. I like clove. I like that it's like a nice warming spice. So I have definitely added about a half a teaspoon of clove. We've got the organic ginger. So put about a half a tablespoon of organic ginger or more if you like ginger. I like ginger, so I want to add a little more. Here's the trick. This is the worst part of it. You can buy any type of caramel syrup that you like. This is the one we're gonna use because this is the one we have. When the kids came over, they wanted some and we got it for their ice cream. So this was the one that was available. You are going to use at least, I would say, 1/4 cup of caramel. That is the cool trick to making a really decent apple pie really quickly. So I have thrown in the pie crust. Y'all know I get the pre-made gluten-free pie crust. I'm just cooking that in the oven for about 15 minutes at 350. I'm gonna mix all these apple flavors up, all the spices, all the apples. Get it going, let it get married, as my dad says. The spices are getting married with one another. Apple pie to me tastes better the second day than it does the first day because we have all that time for these flavors to really congeal and come together. All right, so here's what it looks like. I'm gonna go ahead and set this aside, wait for that pie crust to cook, and then I'm going to fill my pie crust with this. And I like for my topping to kind of wait. So I'm gonna cook this for about, I would say, a good 25 minutes at 350. If you want to, you can put aluminum foil over the top and kind of tint it so that way it doesn't get it doesn't get too dried out. It shouldn't because the apples have a lot of moisture. And then you've added caramel syrup to it, so it's gonna have that moisture from it as well. I'm still over making the Salisbury steaks, so I gotta get over there and flip those around and then get the new ones put in. So that's what I'm saying, we're just constantly going. So I'll bring you guys back as soon as I start to do the topping, because I think a majority of it is fairly simple. Just pour that in the pie shell like I said, and then like I said, tint it so that way the crust and stuff doesn't get burnt. We'll cook it for about 35 minutes, 30 to 35 minutes. Let's see what it looks like, pull it out, and then we're gonna add the topping for the last 15 minutes, but we don't want the tint on top. All right, so I have taken 1/4 cup of butter and melted it. You can use vegan butter, you can use regular butter, whatever works best for you. All right, we're gonna do about 1/2 cup of flour. Maybe a little more. And then you can add brown sugar, you can add regular sugar, you can add coconut sugar, you can add date sugar, whatever sugar you like, because you want your topping to be a little bit sweet. I'm just gonna go ahead and use some of the cane sugar that I have, the organic cane sugar. Here's what it looks like before I begin to mix it up. I also like to add a little more cinnamon to it, just because I like to get it in that bite. And y'all know I love some ginger or I wouldn't grow it. And I'm gonna add another dash of ginger. There you go. All right, and you can take a fork and just kind of smush it in. And then you're just gonna mix it up. If you've ever made a sweet potato casserole, that's basically the kind of topping that you're gonna be making here. I'm just gonna use my fingers, my hands are washed, because that just seems to work best. It's kind of like sometimes making a biscuit, just using your fingers just works better than a machine. But I just think these are just good skills to have, because if we didn't have those machines, how would you make this, right? Like, you want to be able to start implementing things that you could cook over a fire, or, you know, if the electricity went out, how could you cook, or what could you make? And this would be something that you could technically make, especially here in Florida. It gets really warm. So all right, so you can see the topping is starting to get pretty crumbly. That's the consistency that you're looking for. And what you're gonna do is you're gonna pull that aluminum foil off of your apple pie after it's cooked, and then you are going to add this topping, put it back in the oven with no aluminum foil, just sprinkle this over the top. If it were the holidays, I would double this topping, because I know that my family at the holidays really likes this topping. So do we, honestly, because it's super sweet and sugary. But for basically the people that are just coming over tomorrow, it's not that big of a deal. We don't need all that sugar. And so you're just gonna sprinkle it over the top so that it just gives it a kind of like a Dutch type topping, a nice just little crust, and then there you have it. And so your apple pie will be good to go. So as soon as the apple pie is done, I will bring you guys back for the final product. And then as soon as my beef and gravy and I plate and everything, I will show you also what that looks like along with the beautiful air fryer french fries. All right, y'all, so I always say stay hydrated. This is what I'm drinking today. This is true living water. This came from a plant. This is delicious. Your body needs it. So consider drinking some beautiful organic coconut water. It does not have to be the 365 Whole Foods version, but make sure that you are taking care of yourself and staying hydrated. Here in Florida, it is very hot, oftentimes very warm, so make sure that you are taking care of you. All right, everyone, I will bring you back shortly. All right, friends, so dinner is done. The apple pie is actually still in the oven, so as soon as that's done and cools down a little bit, I'll cut a slice and I'll show you guys what it looks like. But for now, here is dinner. So there is the Salisbury steak. I got a little bit of cucumber and the thing I had most been desiring, which was my french fries. So super delicious. I wanted french fries so bad. I love french fries. All right, so I'll bring you guys back as soon as that pie is done. All right, friends, so the apple pie is finally done. We just got it out of the oven, so it's still super piping hot. There it is. I threw a little Cool Whip on the side. I'm probably gonna burn my mouth because this is literally like I just pulled it out. Super delicious. Perfect. I love it. Here's what the pie looks like itself. When it cools down a little more, we can throw some more caramel on top and it would make it taste super lovely. So I wanted to show y'all what the final apple pie looked like. So all right, everyone, until next time, as always, love one another, be kind, and I will see you guys in my next video.